Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Blokes podcast. After a bit of a hiatus, it's Ryan Hassan from the Centre for Healing here, joined as always by Nick, the Miracle of McRae, the Sultan of Still Sutherland. Nico, how are you, mate? What are you sipping on there? Bit of Irish coffee in the morning, bit of whiskey.
Maybe. Um, just an English breakfast with a bit of honey and a bit of milk.
A little bit of honey. Oh, just
Mhm.
to sweeten it up a little bit.
Just, just to sweeten it right up. I'm not really a sweet tooth. I'm more what's the word?
A
Um,
savoury tooth.
I am definitely savory. It's the Japanese word though.
Wanker.
Geez, welcome back, everyone. I mean, to start with, that intro was flat as a shit card hat.
Was
That
it?
was just, it was so
Did
bland.
I just don't phone that one in, did I?
Yeah, it was just, hi everyone, welcome
I
back
did. I
to
felt like I left my body for a second there. I don't know what happened.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Woke Blokes podcast. Ryan Hassan from the Centre for Here, joined as always by Nick Sutherland from Myndfit. Nico, how are you today?
Look, I'm up and about. That intro just really, it
It's
was
too much. It's
like
too
ice
much.
in
I've,
the veins.
I've overcompensated, haven't I?
Well, where have you been? What have you been doing? Like the Mr. Hiatus? Why haven't the listeners been able to get hold
I've
of
been just
some
just jet setting,
leftovers?
just jet setting around the place. No,
Yeah.
we had school holidays down here, so we decided it was a little bit last minute, but we decided to head to Koh Samui, a place that we've spent a lot of time. We were there for well over a year during COVID, and we've been back every year since. So we've got our little community and family over there. So it was great to head back there. So we were there for a couple of weeks, and Melissa's sister, she lives in Chiang Mai, so she came and stayed with us for probably a week and a half of that. So it was great to catch up with her. And
Catch up with all
yeah,
your
we,
lady boys, just your string of lady boys.
yeah, that's right. Ah, you're
Um,
back, Ryan. Oh, I love that,
oh,
mate.
you've had another operation. Congratulations. Am I
Yeah,
paying for that or?
yeah. You got two dicks now. Wow. Extra for you. Um, So that was lovely. Yeah, we like went to Pig Island and did snorkeling. I've always wanted to get a pet pig. I've had an affinity for pigs, and now I'm pretty certain I'm going to get a pet pig. I love them. I'm just into pigs.
Okay. They're amazing
What? It,
creatures,
yeah,
apparently.
they're intelligent. They're
Very
just like,
intelligent,
yeah, they're
very
lovely.
social.
So, yeah, we did
How does
that, and
Sky
then
go with the pig? As a
that
sitter.
that's the thing. We're going to have to run some sort of experiment. She,
Okay.
oh, she'll be
Thanks,
fine.
Dad. This is a breakfast of champions.
No, no, she looks like a wolf. She looks like she should be eating a pig, but she would be scared crapless of it, I'm sure. So yeah, we were there and then we were home for literally, I think, 3 days, and then we were up to the Gold Coast. We stayed at Currumbin and we had a conference that we ran. So it was a Centre for Healing conference that went for 2 days, but we stayed up there for a week and had tacked a bit of an extra holiday onto it.
Sorry, I
Um,
couldn't speak at that one as well. Yeah, I had a bit on.
You were
So
requested. They were like, "Oh, where's Nick?" And I'm like, "That's a great question. I don't know." And then, anyway, we flew the girls out, AJ and Leica, who work for us from the Philippines, and that was awesome. That was so good to be able to take them and, feed the kangaroos and eat Vegemite and all that kind of thing. So they had a wonderful time, and it was just awesome to see. We had about 50 or 60 people come to the conference, which was a really good number. And it's just awesome just to see people in person. I'm sure I've said it before, but it's like we live in this very online world now, and especially since COVID, and especially, seeing clients and for us doing our,
well,
our
no, it's
trainings.
especially since you didn't want any overheads and didn't want to have an office. You chose to create an online world. There's,
Yeah, but it's become the norm. I remember back then, I remember the first session I ever did. So we had a guy I knew from America, and he was chatting to me. And one day he just wanted to chat. And he goes, "Let's catch up on Skype." And I don't think there was any Zoom back then. So we like jumped on Skype for a chat. And I'm like, because I always said you can't do sessions online. I'm like, you can't do it. It's not the same. You need to feel the energy and, all of these reasons. And you have to set up the space really correctly. And I'm having a chat to him and I'm like, this guy needs a bloody session. So I'm like, go somewhere quiet. So I remember he went to his like basement, there's shit everywhere. And normally I'd have the perfect music on, there's no music. And we started doing a session and had a really wonderful experience and everything. And that changed my mind to be able to do things online. So I finished that one. Oh, maybe you can do this stuff online. And but I'm saying since COVID collectively, like how many of your sessions now are online versus in person, would you say?
Uh, we looked it up the other day because we're not renewing the lease at HQ, so we're out of here at the end of the month. So I'll be working online. And so I asked Leash to see what percentages it was, and bear with me while I do some research.
And while you're looking that
Um,
up, it's like I think not just become the norm from a practitioner point of view, but even people getting sessions. Like it's I very rarely now hear someone go, "Oh, like where can I find someone in person?" It's just the done thing that they assume that the session will be done online.
yeah, so I've got a third of my clients are online, so
Yeah.
two-thirds in person.
Yeah. And so I would say you're in the minority right now of practitioners out there, unless you're at like it's a psychologist in a clinic and that kind of thing. I think most sessions are conducted online. That's what I've seen anyway, the last few years.
Yeah, but I chose to take over this space and put the time and energy into it, and
Of course.
go out there and do a lot of presentations and talks to the local community, and that's so I think you get out what you put in that. Or my focus was to create a bit of a community in person, because I felt after COVID that's what needed to happen. I think there was a big disconnect. So yeah, but now we're going online for a while. Hope might be back in a in person in some capacity mid next year, but we're just going online. Em's coming on board, and we're ramping up our online program development. So it's going to be good. And yeah, I think we'll be similar to you guys, in that having an online program, create an online community, then have yearly retreats where everyone can come in person and connect and
Yeah.
do that sort of thing. So
It's sick. It's so good. Like we want to do two a year, probably one local, then one somewhere else. And it's just the best, man. It's like because some people because they'll come to a lot of them, then other people have, flown in from New Zealand and you've like never met them before. And, it's like you can tell that where they're from, they haven't quite got that tribe
yeah,
of like-minded people and sort of they've found it online to an extent. And they come in and get to experience it in person, and it's absolutely awesome. So, um, yeah, that was a hell of a lot of fun. So yeah, we were away for a bit and then we're back now and just sort of you know that feeling when you've been away for a bit and you've had a good time, but you're kind of happy to be home. That's like
yeah,
where I'm at
totally.
the minute. I'm happy to be in my own bed, happy to be, cleaning up the yard and all of that kind of thing. And yeah, so that's
Yeah.
that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing.
And there's pros and cons to online, as there is to everything. So yeah, I think a lot of people might be where you're at. I've got some clients that are very adamant they want in person, especially the older sort of generation. Um, but we're just trying to, treat it as an opportunity for them to put the Myndfit stuff into practice. Everything's impermanent, everything's changing. How adaptive are you? How attached are you to in-person sessions? How much can you let go of that and just explore an online session and try it because it's the unknown and blah blah blah. So we're really using it as a source of stimulus, I guess, to help clients to do the work. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, a lot of people doing a hybrid. We've got a lot of practitioners who will be sort of renting, let's say they see clients 4 or 5 days a week and they'll be renting out a space or a room at a space maybe one day, maybe 2 days a week. And so they'll do in person there and then online the rest. But most of
Yeah.
everyone else is just purely online, which, if you look at the pros of it, it's like the therapeutic relationship is so unbelievably important, obviously, because there needs to be an amount of trust and attunement there with the person so you can sort of go into what you need to go into from a client point of view and feel safe to do so you can make change in your life. And instead of like, four different people in your area to find that attunement with, I mean, you can find it with someone from the UK, you can find it with someone from Canada or the US and all that kind of thing. So I think it does open up a few doors, although it does have its limitations in other ways.
Yeah, nothing's perfect, so just work with what you got. And, well,
I'm just smiling, Nick.
smiling. And you
Do
smile so
Melissa
hard,
does that
your eyeball
sometimes. She'll
bursts.
look, she'll look at me and just go, What's up?" And I'm like, "I'm just smiling.
It's a creepy smile. It's a
Is
bit of
it?
a, yeah, it's
I've got to work on my smile.
no, it's
I'm
lovely.
going to go
It's
practice in the
fine.
mirror as soon as we finish.
Um, and we've got the Dom Cup coming up, the fourth skin,
Yeah, well,
the
another
fourth
another trip
installment of the
planned,
cup.
which Nick and I can't wait. We are big Tool fans, the band Tool, and they were down the east coast of Australia. They're coming out for the first time since just before COVID, so we've been waiting a while. And they're only playing festivals down the east coast. And we're I like to admit it, we're of an age now where probably a festival isn't as attractive as it used to be. So they did announce side shows in Adelaide and Perth. Were they doing Perth as well?
Fourth as well, yeah.
So yeah, Adelaide's a bit closer for us. So Nico went into action mode and just booked it all. I remember so we were on Koh Samui and we had a quad bike trip booked and it was in the middle of the fucking jungle, in the middle of nowhere. And so I had no reception until later on. I got back and I had a bunch of missed calls from you. And then you're like, "Oh, got us tickets. I've booked his flights." I'm like, "Fantastic. That's all sorted." I'm like, "Hey,
Booked the
babe,
accommodation,
babe,
booked the
going to
golf.
Adelaide. Going to Adelaide with Nick." So
So
that's
it's all
great.
non-refundable going.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, we're going to watch Tool and we're going to tack on 2 rounds of golf at two of what looks like two of the most beautiful courses in Adelaide.
In
And I'm
Australia.
excited too because I've never been to Adelaide.
That's astounding. It's
Yeah.
not that far away. Like I was happy to drive there. I was chuck the clubs in and let's just drive there. And you're like, oh no, I'm
It sounds like a
flying.
terrible idea.
We could have just chucked on the whole tool catalog and just
We can still
got
do that.
right in the zone and
We'll be right. We'll be right. Anyway,
yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to experience Adelaide because it's like one of those things we look abroad of where we can go for holiday and that, but there's parts of our own backyard we haven't checked out, and Australia is so bloody big. There's a bunch of places I haven't been to, and Adelaide's one of them.
We had an interesting experience. So we just went up to Queensland to say goodbye to the property that we sold and to get some personal belongings and whatnot. And it was really quite emotional, quite difficult. Um, but we did it, and then so we flew into Brisbane. We hired a camper. Well, Em organised the camper, and I love her to death, but there's times where I'm like, you might want to think a little bit more expansively, honey, in terms of how tall am I and how what size camper did you get? Because you got the smallest one available, which worked out sort of well in one regard because we couldn't fill it with shit and bring it all back from Queensland and bring it all back. So we had to
Right.
be very selective, which was great. But I just didn't sleep very well for a week. Um, and so yeah, we drove the camper back down the east coast and just stayed in some little coastal towns and whatnot. And it was cool because when we picked up the van, they said, "Don't if you go through tolls, you got to pay for the toll and $3.48 admin fee for each toll." Oh, that'd get quite expensive quite quickly. So with our directions, we just put avoid tolls. Best thing ever. It's best thing ever. It was slower, but we gave ourselves a week to do it. And you just go through these beautiful towns and you really see how much the highways have killed off a lot of the small towns because you used to have to go
They
through
get
them and stop them.
bypassed.
Yeah, and you got to stop in these amazing places, and yeah, it was was a really wonderfully unexpected part of the trip. So
How fun, how fun. And what was it with the emotions of the property? Is it because of, I guess, you put so much work into
yeah,
that place? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And the new owners are like, "Oh, can you show us around and show us your favourite spots and that?" And we did our own little walk and got a bit, and then it was like, "No, can't do it. I can't show them our favourite spots." Not because and it was more they're our favourite spots. If we show them our favourite spots, they might not feel as connected to them as we do. They're our favourite spots for a reason. So we said to them, "Look, just you'll find your own spots."
Yeah,
They were
explore.
completely,
Yeah.
yeah, they were completely understanding of that. So,
Yeah.
and well, because we had a lot of memories associated with certain, this tree and that tree, and Isaac climbed a rope swing that was just randomly there and swung out and accidentally kicked the snake out of a tree, and it was hilarious. So yeah, it was just difficult because we did put so much into it, energetically, financially, time, and everything, and we loved it. We were very connected to it, but you know, everything's impermanent. So that chapter's closed, and on to the next one. So which we're excited about.
Nice. What's the next chapter
Yeah.
hold?
Well, just the work stuff. So we're really transitioning Em out of her old work chapter into her new role, doing the somatic therapy stuff and nervous system and whatnot. And it's interesting observing her because she's 25 years as a myotherapist and getting these instant results. So she'll find the problem and fix the problem in the moment. And people, oh, that's great. Oh, thanks so much. And that she's been conditioned to that. And now she's like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if it's being effective because she's not getting that instant feedback.
Mm.
Um, I had this beautiful moment where a client just randomly texted me one afternoon while I was standing next to him, and he said, "Oh, hi Nick, just wanted to share with you that my boys all had an amazing time, and I've just had a proud dad moment, and blah blah." I won't go into it, but he said we couldn't have had that without doing the work with Myndfit. So I just wanted to say thank you very much, and our family's deeply appreciative, and blah blah. And I showed him and I said, "This is what you get back. Not all the time, but this is what you get out of it. It's delayed gratification, delayed
Yeah.
feedback."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a slower process than just
And I
like,
said
oh
that's
yeah, it's
years. That
muscles
was
out of
years in
place
the
and
making. Yeah,
yeah.
that text message was years in the making. Like I didn't have to. I worked with all three of the sons, and then I worked with the dad, and then the dad's partner, and everything. It was, yeah, it was just a collective sort of experience. It all just came into this moment for them, which was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I had a client last week. It was one of the funnest sessions I've had. And she booked in I with this Calendly link. So I hadn't seen, I'd worked with her for maybe a year, but the last session I did was probably 18 months ago. And then it just popped up in my emails. So and so has booked a session for next Wednesday. I'm like, the fuck did she book a session? And it's like she had this old Calendly link that I never used. I didn't even know I had anymore. But I'm like, all right, I booked in. And when you had a client and then they've booked this session sort of out of nowhere, and you're like, all right, something's,
Mm.
happened. And I'm like, all right, how are you? She goes, I'm great. I'm like, the fuck you book in with me for then? People don't really book in with me if they're doing great. And she sort of filled me in, and I think it's because she, kind of works in the space as well, and so very proactive and wants to make sure everything's, the boxes are being ticked. And we'd worked all the work we'd done on a lot of it was a confidence and everything, and maybe getting out of this relationship which she had done. And had found someone new and relationship with her son's great. Like everything's doing great. But she goes, I just wanted to book a session just so I know no part of me is still stuck like in the old relationship. And she goes, if anyone can pull it out, I reckon you can. And I'm like, all right, give me a shot. And we went in there
Let
and
me at it.
there wasn't, well, I remember we finished the session. I'm like, I tried my best, but there was a little bit, but not much there. And she goes, that's all I wanted. I wanted to check and I wanted to make sure. And I'm like, that's so sick. That's just so, proactive and so intelligent for your mental and emotional health. And we just left us just both feeling great. It made me think, man, I wish more of my, you know, clients would do that, take that proactive approach. Because normally they come to us when the wheels are falling off, and they probably should have spoken to us 6 months prior, but have been
Mm.
putting it off. And I just love that proactive approach.
That's why we've got the maintenance program in place. And
Yeah.
that was something that a client came up with because they were similar to your client. They wanted to be proactive and, all right, I've done heaps of work to get here. But regression is a thing. No matter how much you do, there's always uh, the the ability to have that regression. And so, yeah, we came up with this maintenance idea, and it was a real struggle for me because I was like, oh, I don't want to create this codependent sort of scenario, and I don't want to be in reliance on me and everything. But thankfully, it's never been that with any clients, and the majority of it is, they've done the work. We're getting back to ground zero, so to speak, and then they inevitably start wandering, straying from the path, and we can get them before they stray too far.
Mm.
Or they come in and they're on the path still and they're going, let's just reinforce how well I'm doing. Like, great,
Yeah.
it's tell me more how positive things are. And those sessions are great for me as a practitioner because I don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting. It's just or sometimes I can't tell how well they're doing. So it's me shining a light on the really wonderful things that they've got going on for themselves. So yeah, they're really important sessions, I think, for both parties.
There's a saying in physical health, it's easier to stay fit than get fit. I think it's the same mentally and emotionally. It's like just having those check-ins, if you are getting more mentally and emotionally fit and like you feel like you're quite resilient and able to handle these, day-to-day things that life throws at us that stirs up our emotions, and you have a great capacity to do that. I think it's easy to have those check-ins, once a month or so just to make sure you're staying fit because it doesn't take too long to get unfit if we don't tend to the garden.
Stealing that, I'm just writing it down.
Okay. Just make sure you quote me every time that you use it,
No.
even though even though I got it from someone else.
That'll be the slogan for the maintenance program. It's easy to stay fit. It's to
Yeah,
get fit. Have
yeah,
mind fit.
for sure. Fit.
It's been funny because with the hiatus, it's amazing how much stuff pops up that I want to talk about. And then I like, oh yeah, lock that in. I really want to unpack that with us, and I really want to talk about this, and then clients will get a lot out of this. But it becomes too much, so then it all just sort of passes on, which is fine. But it's amazing how much content there is just on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, for sure.
So we should do we should do the podcast every day, I think.
Oh God, I have to see you every day.
We'll do it for half an hour. I have to look at your eyeball every day.
I know I have a burst blood vessel. For those listening, don't go watch on YouTube because I have a burst blood vessel, and it was actually worse yesterday. Um,
I got on Zoom, ladies and gentlemen, and there was Ryan already front and center, present with these um, Highway 64
Ray-Bans.
police patrol
Yeah.
officer with his Ray-Bans on. And
Kind of like
if any of you,
T1000 from Terminator 2.
no, it's not.
No?
It's Timu T1000.
The
That's what it is.
T100.
If any of you are golf fans, he looks like a Phil Mickelson-esque when Phil's trying hard to be cool.
I'll take that.
So yeah, it
I
was
was just trying to
amazing
cover
to
my eyeball up, but Nick said just be all that you are, and I'm trying my
actually
best to do that.
just own it, embrace it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it was interesting on the trip home as well. Um, so we had that big emotional thing, and then we were tired. I wasn't sleeping well in the van. And then I got a message one morning from my sister saying, "Hey, good school, blah blah." And yeah, we found out our So my mum and biological dad, my dad's Graham, he they separated when I was about 3 or 4, and then I only saw him once more, and then he passed away from motor neuron disease, and he had a lot of psychological issues. Um, and but after him and mum separated, he got remarried, I think, and had a another child called Luke. So Luke um, is a half brother, and then mum got remarried to my stepdad Rick, who's passed away, and had 2 more. So I've got half brothers from mum's marriage and a half brother from biological dad. Yeah, I mean, and Luke had a lot of struggles, a lot of battles, and yeah, found out on the third or fourth day of the trip that he passed away last week.
Oh, shit.
Um, and it was really interesting. It was I've had a lot of experiences lately where I've really been that eye behind the eye, just the observer, and the heart and soul, just really observing the head and ego. And I had it in a conversation with them, and I said to her, I can really feel my ego wanting to be angry at you and blah blah blah. And then I could really hear my ego trying to get angry and disappointed and to beat myself up. Could I have done more? And should I have you know, done X, Y, and Z and everything. And it was fascinating everything is revealing, and it was just fascinating to sit there and observe what was coming up, and um, just to not buy into what was trying to be sold to me, just letting it all come up and come out and move away. And I was saying to him, I said I'm observing all these thoughts and having all these things come up. And she was great. She was like, "Oh, you couldn't have done more." I said, "Yes, I know. I don't. I appreciate it, but I'm very. It was weird. I was very grounded, and understanding that it was his journey and it was his karma and everything. Yeah, but it was just a really really interesting experience. I was deeply sad. The way he passed away was he had pancreatitis, I think, from alcohol abuse, and he went to hospital a couple of times and got sent home, and then I think he died while he was on the call to an ambulance, and just by himself, he was sort of living on the streets a bit, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was just it was so the leaving Queensland, the property, and then the lack of sleep, and then the Luke news, and it was just shows a lot.
And where did you land with that? Like, obviously, you were having all these thoughts that, weren't helpful, the shoulds and shouldn'ts and all that kind of thing. But where did you land after that? Just a sort of a place of sadness and grief, but acceptance? Like, where are you at the minute with it?
Yeah, 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 exactly. I'm just and gratitude. I'm so grateful that I know that I'm not my thoughts and I'm not my feelings. I'm grateful for all the work I've done to have that ability to observe and to understand what's happening and why it's happening. It's not good or bad, or it doesn't mean anything. It's just a very natural sort of thing that happens. But yeah, once all that sort of washed away, all that was left was love, really. And yeah, it was a um, it's interesting because the sister's friends with his mum on Facebook and my auntie, so Graham's sister, and she just saw something on Luke's mum's page about losing a son or whatever, and she's like, oh, she checked in. Anyway, long story short, I haven't spoken to my auntie for can't remember ever speaking to her. No animosity, just disconnection. So her and I have sort of connected, and she sent she's moving house, and she said, "Oh, I'd like to send you an artist did a drawing of your dad, and I'd like to send it to you if I could. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no worries. And I'm very at peace now after a lot of work with my dad's stuff with Graham. So she sent this thing through, and hopefully you can see it. Um, yeah.
Yep, got it.
So,
Wow, what
and
a
I showed
drawing.
them. She goes, did you get a self portrait done?
Yeah,
And she
there's
really,
quite a bit of Nico in there, isn't there?
yeah, yeah, there is. So every cloud has a silver lining, as they say. But a lot of people create a lot of dark clouds um, instead of the silver lining. So it's give me a reconnection. I'm going to go and speak with Luke's mum, catch up with her for an afternoon, and have a cup and chat about him and Graham and everything. So, there's a deep sadness there, but hopefully, um, with this passing, there can be some connection. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it's just a lot to process.
Absolutely. Yeah, so much. I'm sorry to hear, mate, but like, yeah, it sounds like a lot in a short amount of time. And I'm sure if you hadn't done the work and had the capacity to deal with it, I can imagine it would get a lot. So, like you said, that gratitude for being able to see things as they are is so unbelievably important.
Yeah, and because of his, it was really interesting. So Graham had bipolar, unmedicated, so he used a lot of drugs and alcohol and everything. And it was really interesting to hold up sort of Luke and my lives together because obviously I had my rock bottom and very could have easily gone,
Yeah.
that direction.
That's what I was
Um,
thinking as you sort of started talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Luke has had his rock bottom and stayed in there and gone in the other direction, and that was sort of hard to reconcile. And there was that ego was trying to create a bit of guilt around that and a bit of but I was really proud as well because I did stay connected to him and speak to him, and he was homeless and there was this should I bring him into the house? We've got a spare bedroom and could he live with us? Could we take care of him for a while? And a lot of that was coming up after I heard of his passing. But the last phone call I had with him, he felt very alone. He was estranged from his mum. He was an only child. Um, and he was very deep down the rabbit holes and paranoia and a lot of that. So quite hard to have just an ordinary conversation with him. But and he was experimenting a lot with psychedelics and everything. And when I last spoke to him, he sort of stopped and we spoke about him becoming, a lived experience practitioner. I said to him, this is my journey, and I could have gone down that path, but I went and did the work and studied and now I'm using it. And he was genuinely inspired by that. And he was like, yeah, I'd love to do that. And it felt good as a big brother, to lead by example and put that out there. And I said, look, mate, no matter where you are, you're always loved. Just know that you're always loved. I'm here. Obviously, I can't fix your life for you. I can't, wave a magic wand and make it all better, but I can love you and always be here for you. And it was really grateful for that. And that conversation, it was the place where I arrived was back at that conversation. It's
Mm.
knowing that, you know, he died feeling loved. Hopefully, it was very, again, sad, comforting.
Yeah. Yeah. You're making me think like I've done a lot of work with like yeah, families of people in addiction and that loved ones, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, friends, all that kind of thing. And what we try and educate is kind of exactly what you were saying there. It's like we can't force somebody into change. We can't like beat them with a stick until they
Let's have an
change
intervention
behavior.
and force them into
Yeah, let me
doing
voice
things what they
my
don't want to do.
my grievances. We'll take it in turns of telling you how much of a fuck up you are. It's it's this place like it's like I can love and accept you. I can't accept this certain behavior at the minute, but I can love and accept you. And if you ever need help, this is where I am. So it's like it's a compassionate orientation to take, whilst also acknowledging that they're on their own journey as well in this life. And sometimes people will come and ask for that help and get better, and sometimes people won't. And that's just
We,
the
we call it
reality.
compassionate boundaries. When the ego perceives the person to be a threat, it'll set these reactive boundaries and they'll be very harsh and very judgmental and very me versus you. But when when you move past that and understand how destructive that is, you can set these really compassionate boundaries. And as you said, I'm always going to love you and I'll help, but the help won't be in the form that you may be looking for or that you desire. And it's um, yeah, it's still maintaining a connection, but from a distance, like it's remaining
Mm,
open. And I spoke to Em about it, and her brother has had is sort of similar and has a lot of challenges. And he was out on the street for a while, and she brought him into their house with her and her two kids. And she said it was the worst decision she ever made, because
mm,
the kids don't talk. He just damaged all of the
mm.
relationships. And so for her, it was I'm trying to help him and come from a place of love. But she goes, oh, if I had my time again, I would have set that boundary and said no. Um, and I was like, yeah, I knew that in my head, but hearing it,
I
um,
think that's, yeah, like hearing that really solidifies what you're talking about there,
yeah.
you know. Um, yeah, wow.
So
Yeah,
when you
it's
go into the imagination into would, should, and could, that's just such a dangerous place to be. But I did it mindfully, and I went, yeah, okay. If I had have invited Luke in the headspace he was in, and the way he was operating, the drugs he was taking, the alcohol, the everything like that, it would have opened doors that didn't need opening. I didn't go down into he would have done this, this, and this, and jump to conclusions and worst case scenario. But I just thought it would have opened doors and created dynamics that probably didn't need to be created. So,
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm
and
sorry.
and it's his
Yeah,
karma, it's his journey. It's we're talking before about reincarnation, and I don't know. Maybe he may be a young soul. Maybe this is a real um, a lot in this for him on that soul's evolution.
yeah, yeah. I always, and I'm really sorry for your loss, and I kind of have this feeling it sucks when somebody does pass away under those circumstances, and there's people in their life that love them, and it's really tough. And especially in our line of work, we've seen people and ourselves really turn our life around, so we kind of know what's possible. Um, at at the same time, though, there's always part of me in this situation because I've been in some super dark places in my life, and I've known how much internal pain and suffering there is in those places that I also kind of see, a soul find some peace, finally. So I tend to have both of those things going on when I hear a story of someone passing like that.
Yeah, yeah. And again, the parallel universe is a version of Nick that hadn't, done the work and taken the path that I've taken. I can sit here now, talk about it, and feel sadness and everything. But a parallel universe, I would have gotten really angry. I would have run the hospitals. I would have been in such suffering and projecting that suffering onto everyone else around me. I would have beaten myself up. I would have just dug such a deep and unnecessary hole and just sat in it and wallowed. And that's the weird thing about grief, where it can turn selfish really quickly, and you can make it about you really quickly. And it was so nice to just to have that experience where it was all about Luke. It wasn't about what I thought or what I wished or what I wanted or what I reckon, and in my opinions, it was all about Luke. And just remembering the beautifulness of him, because I don't think anyone's born bent out of shape. It's you hear stories of people that are unhealed or out of alignment, and that they didn't all start that way. I think everyone's born pretty decent. And underneath it all, there is this very beautiful nature in everyone I've come across, I think. So, yeah, trying to stay connected with that part of him was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was a lot a lot on the trip home,
Yeah, I reckon.
a lot of innings, and it's interesting. Chinese astrology, it's year of the snake, so there's a lot of shedding and a lot of um, letting go and moving
Ah.
moving through things.
That's
So
interesting because I have quite a few friends at the minute, not at the minute this year, who've had crazy years. Like just the most intense family stuff, internal personal stuff, like just things coming from left field and all that kind of thing. And I might have to let them know about the year of the snake if they don't follow Chinese astrology.
definitely, we're definitely feeling it, and a lot of clients are definitely resonating with it. So
Yeah.
I had a client yesterday, and we were talking about her. I've worked with half of her family, and the other half. That's a funny expression. Most people go to therapy to learn how to deal with people that won't
Who
go
won't
to
go to
therapy.
therapy?
um, but she needs it, and but the other half of her family, could benefit from it, but probably won't. And they were saying, "Oh, you're doing this really in this judgmental position of her, and stop saying Nick, and because you're depressed and you're this and you're that." And I had a chat to her, and I said, "My goal with clients is to teach you how to have an emotional response which is in proportion to what you're experiencing. It's the goal isn't to be happy all of the time. That would be ridiculous. Um, so it's to have an emotional response. So I said, what you've been going through and what you've been dealing with, and all the stimulus that's been popping up for you, all the challenges and obstacles and adversity you've been facing, I'd be more concerned if you weren't in a depressive state.
Mm,
So being in that depressive state is a healthy emotional response to what you've been dealing with. So, but her family that's sitting in judgment of her don't understand it. They can't grasp it. They're just doing their math and going, "You're seeing a therapist. You're depressed. It's not working."
mm,
And I, when I sort of unpacked it for her and said, "You are having a very healthy response. So depression can be healthy." And she's like, "Oh my God, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's so accurate." Um, and it was so liberating for her. And I shared, my story with Luke. And I said, I spent a week in a car, really sort of low. Um, but I just sat in it and I understood it for what it was, and I appreciated it for what it was, and I just allowed it to be. And I've come out of it um, with gratitude and feeling much better for it. And she's like, "Why doesn't everyone know this? Why can't everyone
uh,
understand this?" I'm like, "Because it's most people being taught that depression bad, anxiety bad, anger bad, um, and you shouldn't feel them or you don't want to feel them. So most people have an aversion to them." But it was fascinating, to hear her family saying, "Stop seeing Nick because you're depressed." So,
yeah. It's like one thing I say with clients all the time, like we might be talking about something and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I feel so embarrassed or I feel so angry or I feel so sad. And over and over, I always just say, is it okay for that to be here? Is it okay for that sadness to be here? And I always, when I first start working with them, they always kind of go, it's like they check for a second and go, yeah, yeah. And so we continue and we work out as we move through it that they've been oftentimes in our developmental years, we're abandoned in certain emotional states and we're accepted and loved in certain emotional states. That's part of our conditioning growing up. So it's like when we're having a tantrum, so we say we're angry, we're abandoned. Like go into that room, time out, come back when you're not angry anymore. So it's like I can't accept, I'm not accepted. So whatever emotional states we're not accepted in childhood, we won't accept ourselves in adulthood. And so we grow up as these big babies, essentially, who are every time that we get sad or angry or guilty, we deem that that's not okay. And I need to be feeling something different. But when I'm happy and excited and yeah, look at me, and then I'm like, yeah, that. So we create this huge issue where all we're doing is chasing this and we're trying to avoid this, yet all of it encompasses the experience of being a human being. And what you said, having these normal human emotional reactions, like we're meant to have anger, we're meant to have guilt, we're meant to have sadness, all of these, we're meant to feel hurt. We're meant to go into depressive states. We're meant to have fear and anxiety in part. They're normal responses. But as soon as we go, no, this isn't okay and it shouldn't be here. As soon as a client says should or shouldn't to me, I say, stop swearing at me. You can say fuck,
Ah.
shit, all the other words that you want, just that don't say should or shouldn't. So it's like, I shouldn't be this, I should be this. But then chasing, like you said, trying to chase being happy all the time is the surefire way to becoming miserable, funnily
Oh,
enough.
absolutely. We a lot of our work is it starts off around the relationship to self, and how you feel about how you feel is critical. It's so important, and so many people create resistance to how they're feeling. Oh, I'm feeling this. I don't want to feel this. I shouldn't be feeling this. I'm not allowed to feel this. I wasn't allowed to feel this. Whatever, whatever the scenario is, whatever the narrative in their head is, there's this discontentness. I'm discontent with how I'm feeling. And as soon as you flip the script on that and change the framing around it and allow it to exist and just let it come and let it go, uh, so much other shit goes away, and it's amazing at how much easier life gets because you're not in this constant resistant state with it.
And when you've been avoiding it for so long, it's like a chihuahua in the corner of the room, but you've ignored it for so long that you think it's a giant fucking demon gargoyle thing there. Whereas if you turn towards it, and this happens in session, it's like, I'm starting to feel really sad. It feels like it's going to be a lot. And I'm like, is it okay for that to be here? And they say yes. And then we work through things and we're talking. And then half an hour later, I'm like, where's that sadness now? And they're like, yeah, it went. It was there and it was strong and they may have cried and everything, but then it's gone. It's because I turned towards it with awareness and oftentimes early on with a safe guide who can eventually teach us to do that without the guide. So I realized that, oh, it was just that kind of chihuahua in the corner and I was able to go and pat it and it stopped barking at me. And so then that builds emotional resilience because then you get to a point where, like you, have this, a lot of very intense things happen in a very short amount of time. And by not creating resistance to what you're experiencing, you're not taking, and you use the term like suffering and unnecessary suffering, you don't take this suffering here and make it a whole steaming pile of unnecessary suffering dog shit.
Life's going to happen,
Yeah.
and for me in that week, life happened to large degrees quite quickly, in quick succession, and it was just, yeah, again, so much gratitude for having an understanding around it, and just, yeah, cool, all right, wow, another one, oh, another one, okay, this is right. And yeah, I remember we got so many people talking about that podcast we did with Matty Pitt from SGA, and he spoke so beautifully about the experience he and his family had when Sally passed. And he spoke about letting it in and letting it out. Let it in the front door, let it out the back door. That the emotions come and go. And a lot of clients really took a lot away from listening to him, in the face of that much adversity. And him modeling that for his kids as well. Him look at it from a distance, and psychologically, physiologically, just stayed, um, out of distortion. So there's a lot of intense feelings and a lot of um, depth to what he was experiencing, but stayed pretty regulated. We talk about coming back to center and expanding and contracting or whatever, and he kept coming back, and that's what he needed, that's what his wife needed, and that's what his kids needed. So
Yeah, yeah, I think that's powerful because it puts into perspective when you can hear someone allow their feelings to come in and move through them when they're going through something like losing their wife, like he did. Then I think people listening to that who literally can't let in the feeling of, their son getting in trouble at school or, leaving the fucking washing on the floor or it
explaining,
puts into perspective. That's like, I can't even let that in. Like, where am I at? That's why it could
yeah,
become quite powerful. And because you spoke about grief in particular can make us selfish, but so can anything that stirs up these heavier, more uncomfortable emotions. And oftentimes people, you said, like, so you have this one experience and all of a sudden you're not sleeping well, and then you hear about Luke, and then we all of a sudden go, oh God, it's all happening to me right now. This is, what's next? What's next for me? We get so self-absorbed in that state, which is just not healthy.
no, it's not. And I wasn't going through it alone. Em was with me. Em was connected to the property. She was going through that. Em's connected to me. She never met Luke or anything, but you know, she, I was sad, so she was sad, and she was having an emotional experience with it. And yeah, it's I don't know. It's just so important. I think that the work. I keep getting these. Not that I need them, but I keep getting these reminders either through my personal life or through clients how important the work that we're doing is. It's You just hear it constantly. Why aren't we being taught this in schools, or why don't we know this, or why isn't this out there more often, or and I don't have the answers for that. I don't. All I know is that there are people like you and me and a lot of other amazing people in the world just doing their bit, playing their part, and trying to help everyone. Um, I say to clients all the time, life's hard enough. Life's going to know throw enough curveballs at you. You know, we either keep getting hit by them and go, "Oh, I can't believe I'm getting hit by these curveballs," or we learn how to hit them, or how we learn how to play the game. And a lot of people just can't play the game.
I just imagine, those automatic things that shoot the balls out, and someone just standing in front of it like this, going, "Why do I keep getting hit with balls?" I think that the reason why we want to practice the work and a lot of what we teach, and I'm using inverted commas here, on the small things, is because we build that pattern and that resilience. So then eventually when the big things come, like we lose someone, we lose a job, there's some sort of larger catastrophe, then
House.
we've got the resources and the training that we've put in. We've put in the mental reps, as old Mindfit would say, so that now we can handle those bigger things and we don't go into a tailspin. Because a lot of people, if they don't work on those smaller things and be able to let things in and then regulate on a day-to-day basis with small things, and the big things happen, and maybe two or three big things happen, and they end up in a really bad and dark place because they just haven't
Oh,
put in the reps.
well, when I first started doing Pilates, the physio that I went to was an ex-footy player, and he said his footy career would have been extended if he hadn't started doing Pilates a lot earlier, because he had his big muscles and he was a big, fit, strong-looking dude. Um, but he said when his big muscles got tired, they had no support around them. So his big muscles were doing all the heavy lifting and all the work, and the smaller muscles that he wasn't exercising weren't then able to contribute in any way. And so I look at that physical and translate it to emotional, and the big events, the work that we do on a daily basis is exercising those small muscles to support the big muscles when they're activated or when they're engaged.
What a wonderful analogy.
Thank you. You can quote me every time you use that.
All right, down. It's a pretty long
Maybe
one. I don't know if I'm going to
maybe
remember
I'll
that.
come and speak about it at your next retreat.
Yeah,
Or
I'll
whatever
Sutherland
you
and send you
finish
the
up.
invite.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, and I I lost the ability many years ago, thankfully, to say things are good or bad. It's just not available to me anymore. Luke's passing wasn't good or bad. Selling the property wasn't good or bad. It's just a moment that is, you know, pleasant or unpleasant. It's sad or it's happy. It's this or it's that. It's just too lazy, to go, oh, that was good because it was convenient or it gave us what we wanted, or it's bad because it was inconvenient or it didn't get us what we wanted. So, and I don't want to do someone's life a disservice by saying it's bad that they died, or
Mm,
it's bullshit. They shouldn't have died. Like how deeply irrational do people get? This coming from the king of irrational once upon a time.
mhm,
It's just so revealing how irrational we get, and the biggest part of it is just that non-acceptance. It's just I'm not willing to accept it. I will not allow myself to accept that this has happened. I will stay in complete resistance of this. Okay, good luck with that, buddy.
well, that's a little, let's make that a little challenge for everyone listening and just for the rest of today. See if you can go through the day, not label anything good or bad. And just if you notice the compulsion to just pick yourself up on that and just say, oh, this weather's bad. Oh, no, this weather just is. My dog's being good. Oh, no, my dog just is just being. Just pick it up. Or this argument that started with my partner, this is bad. It's like, no, it's just happening. Deal with what's happening. Just try not to label it good or bad. And
That's what,
you'll notice how pretty much every moment of your life you're trying to categorize it into degrees of good and degrees of bad.
and you're doing that because you're trying to reconcile it. You're trying to, find a way for it to sit
You're trying to be
in
okay.
that doesn't disturb anything. But it's just going to unfortunately be the source of disturbance because you're going to that'll be connected to the next thing, and that'll be connected to the next thing. So all
Yeah.
of a sudden, all these little things that have been bad, and how was your day? Oh, it was bad. It was a bad day. Had an argument with mum. My dog was bad. My kids were bad. It was all bad, and life sucks now. Like life's. Imagine. Put yourself in a position where you genuinely believe and you express to the world that life sucks. Like it's just, I, I, yeah, it's just so foreign to me now. It's just so
That's all we got.
doesn't suck. Anyway,
Oh, well, you don't suck.
no.
No.
Well, I do if I'm having a strawberry thick shake.
Okay.
I really like strawberry thick shakes.
Oh, they're okay. Like I'm not eight anymore, but they're okay.
It's so interesting. Whenever I have one, M hangs shit at me about it. You hang shit at me about it. People I order it off hang shit at me about it. Like,
Do they?
a what now? I'm like a strawberry thick shake. Are you deaf? But a 40, nearly 48-year-old adult male isn't allowed to find enjoyment in a strawberry thick shake.
No, you are allowed, but you're also going to accept a bit of banter about it. That comes along. That's like the fries with it. That's what you get with it.
It says more about you than it says about me. So
Okay.
anyway,
All right. Thank you
go
everyone for
and sort
tuning
your
in.
golf game out.
Okay. All right. Well, it's not good or bad. Despite me for the last few days telling you how bad my golf game is, this podcast episode has completely changed me. So
It'll be interesting to see how you hit him on the range.
it'll be interesting to see how I hit him on the range and how we play when we play a beautiful 18 holes down at the National tomorrow afternoon.
To
All right. See you everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Peace.